Family, we have giants in our midst, and in this moment, not only do we get to meet them, but we get to give them the credit and the praise they deserve. They are educating, creating, providing resources, doing what they can to make the world better, our world better. This is For the Culture. Yes! We're here. Hey, boo thing.
Hey, girl. Hey.
Hey. Y'all, I'm excited. This is such a treat because I got my sister in the house, Miss Ariel Samone. Thank you for being here, beauty.
Thank you so much for having me, love. I'm excited.
I'm excited. You're gorgeous, first of all. And I'm so grateful. So thanks for joining For the Culture. Let's start off with the very beginning. Who the heck are you?
Why do you always have these? Like, no, I'm teasing. Ariel Samone. I am a tenacious community activist, a leader, a woman of God, someone who loves people. I want to live life as a vessel every day. So I see myself as a vessel. I see myself as a faith walker. Somebody that just believes in I grow every day. So of course the other things, like I'm a daughter, right? I am a best friend. I'm a Howard graduate, but that's not who I am. You know, it's what I've done, but or the spaces that I've lived in. But yeah, just someone that loves life and wants to see my community win, like systematic liberation all day.
Come on, start off with a bang. Systematic liberation. Drops mic. So let's go into your background a little bit. Where were you born and raised?
Good question. So born and raised in Queens, New York, or New York, you know, as New Yorkers say.
Yeah.
But born and raised in Queens, New York. I lived in Queens up until like 16, and then we moved to Charlotte, North Carolina, per my wishes when I was like 16 years old. So I finished my last 2 years of high school in Charlotte. But born and raised in Queens, went to school in Queens and Long Island, and then moved to Charlotte to finish up some schooling because I thought I was gonna go to college down here, believe it or not.
I'm happy that didn't happen. And where's your family from?
Well, it's a good question. So my family's from New York, but my father moved from South Carolina, Hughie, South Carolina, which is outside of Charleston. He moved when he was about 8. And so my father is one of 10. So their family moved up to New York, to Queens. And my grandmother still lives in this house till that day. Like it is literally like she's never gonna leave that house. She will never move back down south. So anyway, so they moved from South Carolina to New York. My mother was born and raised in New York, but her family is originally from Virginia. We're Blackfoot Indian. So we were in the Virginia area until we had to migrate up top. And we migrated, my great grandmother migrated to New York. So my grandmother and my mother were born and raised in New York. So yeah.
I love that. I love the fact that you know.
I be trying. You know, I used to get that question, and not to like take us off track, but I used to get that question like, "Where are you from?" What are your roots? And there was a TikTok, and this is gonna date this messaging, but there was like a video out that was like, "I'm black mixed with black mixed with black," and because I used to get tired of hearing that question, like you have eyes and cheekbones and I'm like, "I'm black mixed with black mixed with black," right? And then I actually started asking, and that's how I found out, like, I'm Blackfoot Indian mixed with Portuguese, mixed with Irish, mixed with West Indian roots on my father's side, and so that's what really made me dig. But if anybody asks, I'm black mixed with black mixed with black. No.
I love that. And I'm grateful that you even bring that up because the reason I even asked like where folks are born and raised and maybe where family and stuff is from is I think it's important for us to realize where perspectives are coming from.
Yeah.
As well. And we met at Howard.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful, and you've been stuck with me since. And I love your point of view and your perspective. And we talk all the time, the difference in, our upbringing and cultural differences and things like that. So thank you for sharing is the moral of the story. Truly. So you truly are an activist and a vessel, like you said. I'm grateful that I've been able to see you operate as a business owner. I've seen you operate as a leader. I've seen like in just so many different spaces. Can you give us some more insight into what exactly it is that you do?
Yes, I can. I've always come from a family that was extremely vocal about what needs to be done. So we were that family that was at the dinner table, like, well, what I feel like with the Black Panthers, the lack of respect that the government had, like, we were those people, like, so I heard Stokely Carmichael when I was younger. I heard, I knew about Farrakhan in an intimate way because of, my aunts and my uncles. And, I heard about policy coming up and different things that were, like, we openly discussed, Maroon villages and, being,
That's so good.
it was just very open. Now, what I always felt obligated with was to do with the information. So I always felt a charge to get up and do, because the one thing my mother would always leave conversations with, and it used to irritate me when I was younger. I understand it in a different way now, but she used to say, so what are you going to do about it? And she would challenge. It's like, you ever seen like the bull with like the horns? Like, she would challenge anybody. Like, so what are you going to do about it? Like, you say all of this and you say what we need, but what are you actively participating in?
That's
And
good.
from a very young age, my mother said, so where do you want to spend your time? And I was active with volunteerism. I was active with, writing letters to council and Senate. I was active with learning about different organizations and groups that were in surrounding areas, so that by the time that I went to Howard and I, got to DC, it was a part of me. Like, it was ingrained in me. Like, this is what you do. Being Black is beautiful. Being Black is also a charge that you have to walk a certain you have to walk a certain way with a certain posture and do in a very active way. Like, being Black is a responsibility. That's what um that's what I was raised with. So I have sat on political caucuses. I know that know this. Like, if you came and visit me and it was campaign season, you were campaigning with me. I have created such beautiful relationships with certain senators and council and I always believe that politics starts at home. Like, it starts at at the grassroots level. So I've always been that person to make sure that in the school systems I'm asking children what they think. Sometimes we think political efficacy only starts at 18, but it starts in the womb, honestly. And so political caucuses, participating in DNCs, because now I do see myself as independent. But if you had to ask me what I am, I for damn sure ain't Republican, and so
Right.
it's not a thing. And but got me some Republicans in my life, and I love it because it makes you, it allows you to be unstuck. Like, you can't stay in your own echo chamber, and respect them, and love them. But I have been a part of, volunteer committees and just everything, Miss Joseph. What else?
Literally.
My companies are geared towards the community. So, a lot of, we were discussing this before, but what we don't realize is that protest, empowerment, shifting and changing starts where you are. So my company is for us. I have a background, my business acumen, right? I have a background in business strategy. I have a background with being a turnaround specialist, but using that for our people. So being a part of consortiums and making sure that I'm targeting the small Black business community so that I can say, hey, let's get your certifications. Let's get you this funding. Let's get you these grants. Like, that's the space that I lived in for so long. And then, of course, Sisters of Impact, that's going to be the platform where we are very strategic with not only prison reform, but also policy, and precedent that was set by law. So I'm just really excited to always be in the trenches, always digging in, always finding a new way to do, honestly.
Okay. So for anyone that does not know, the one and only Miss Ariel Samone, if you couldn't tell by now, clearly you know now she's a powerhouse, and I'm grateful because I get to know you as my bestie, as my sister friend, and so I've had the opportunity to see you behind the scenes.
Mm,
And something that I value so much about you is who you are behind the scenes, is who you are in front of this, like on stage.
mm,
And you have such a diverse background.
mm,
People don't always realize because you step on stage and, like you said, turnaround specialist, you've helped companies expand, and you'll get folks from whatever thousands to millions, and from the million to five. Like, you've done all of that, but you're also a chemist, and you're also a creative and an actress. And I just value the fact that in every space that you go into, it's never just at the surface. Like, you go into a space and you get deep into any layer or level of equity and things like that underneath the surface. Like, you go into a room and you don't just walk into an audition. You walk in and you're like, wait a minute, but who's producing? Okay, but why is the room set up, and why is this person, but why is the line, like, the way that your mind works
mm.
is just beautiful. And I admire it. I admire watching you do what you do. Truly. So if you don't mind sharing, you touched on a few things that you have your hands in, but what are some of the projects that you're working on currently?
Yeah, absolutely. So I am extremely active right now with tools and resources. As you know, at first, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for even shedding light on things that we take for granted sometimes, you know, because certain things, it wasn't always a choice. I was talking to my mentor, and she said, on the spectrum of decision making for leaders, I don't feel like it isn't an option.
Hmm.
That's so true. I showed up in spaces with excellence because nothing else was an option.
Wow.
Uh, Oprah speaks, when she walks into a room, she walks in as 10,000. And I always felt the responsibility to show up as all of my people. So it didn't allow
Wow.
me to do things that I wanted to do. I had to do things that were necessary. So I'm just really grateful that you brought that up. But tools and resources are my main discussion right now. A very, very big deal for me. I come from a family that was in financial literacy. My mother was the person that went and sat at the dinner table with a family. They were spending $3,000 a month. She took the same 3,000 and found them maybe 30% of their budget to save, invest, put away for college funds for the children, make sure their life insurance was set up. That's what she did. And I was the child at 4, 5, 6, 7, because she was a single mom of 3. Sometimes I was that child that was on appointments with her. So I saw what it looked like to actively engage with the people you love and you want to see do better.
Wow.
Sometimes we think that is done from CNN, and it is not. Sometimes we think that it's done from, and I love those. I love platforms, right? Like, I love where people work where they are, but it's done across the table. It is done
That's
personally.
good.
It's like I tell people, the Lyndon B. Johnson way of politics is individual to individual, right? He always learned, who the person was, what they did, and because it was so personal, he was able to shift a life, and you shift one life at a time. So tools and resources are a big deal. I started with financial literacy, and you can have that conversation with me all day. I'm like, no, we need to do boop, 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 boop.
Yeah.
This is it. Do you have this? Do you have that in place? You don't need that policy. You need this one right now because this is where your finances are at. And I love it because we don't realize that we live in, and we say it all the time, a capitalistic society. We can't change
Right.
the rules of the game until we play the game. We dominate, we win, and then we shift.
Hmm.
And so with financial literacy, something we don't talk about, which is this looming cloud. Like, have you ever felt like an aura, something that you just can't get off you, or that's
Yes.
just surrounding you, but you can't pinpoint it? That
Yep.
is legal literacy.
Mm.
We're fighting a legal literacy battle, and we don't even know that we're in the battle. We don't even know that we're in the war right now of legal literacy. So many of us have this like looming aura surrounding us, and we're like, why do I feel like I just can't get ahead? Why do I feel like I just I'm not getting the response from the superintendent that I need for my children in the school that they go to
Wow.
because we're Title One? Why do I feel like, when every time I go and I clock into work, I'm dealing with a microaggression, but maybe HR isn't paying me any attention
Wow.
because we are working not in a DEI environment, but in a white male dominated Anglo-Saxon culture. But I can't pinpoint it, nor can I do anything about it because I'm legally illiterate. And that is a gap. So not only tools and resources to say, hey, let's wake up, but also how can we affordably show up different, not as just a consumer, but as an educated citizen that knows how to operate in this society. So that is a big deal for me right now. Affordable legal access for all of our people. And I am unapologetic about it. Straight up. And so if and the conversation is intense sometimes, because if you don't get it, I'm gonna say, let's talk about this.
Yeah.
I don't let people off the hook because there's no way you can
Yeah.
tell you don't need legal when everything we do is litigious.
Yep.
Everything. You breathe, you got an EI, you have an EIN on you. It's called a social security number. They track
Well,
like
preacher.
so boom. Then for my small business community, bringing what I did years ago as a boutique agency to the masses, it wasn't affordable for everybody that I love to work with. Like,
Yeah.
you couldn't afford me. Like, I
Yeah.
was comma checking corporations and I couldn't comma check my people. So I was just like giving out free information, but let's be straight up. We can give out value on
Yeah.
a daily basis, but when something is free, it's not valued for long term.
That's good.
I needed to be able to put a shared economy model into place. So now I have a boot camp that small business owners can go through so that I could feed them, so I can fuel them and really dig into the weeds. I'm talking about things that have allowed me to take regional companies into exit strategies where the former CEO is now retired with a percentage of profit share. Like, those are
That's
things that
good.
don't happen every day, but it's fun to do, right? And so showing people how to, if you're a startup or if you're maybe your first company, whatever your passion is, showing you how to make 20 to 50K in your first 12 months in business, maybe in your first 6, maybe in your first 3, depending on who you are and how you show up, right? Not on my
Wow.
strength, how you show up. And then, so that's the second thing, bringing who I was to maybe a larger corporations to the masses through this small business bootcamp model, which is such an amazing download that God just gave me, right? And then my mentor used to say, "You're not thinking big enough." And just being in flow and ebb in this season with spirit, I was like, "Dang, how can I think bigger? Like, how can I make more room if I'm the lid on my community, me taking full
Yeah.
ownership? How can I make more room for my people to get what they want? I can't go after millions. I have to create billionaires, right? And systems for that to happen. But what does that look like with the mental shifts and the belief systems that we have to unlearn, then relearn? And who are these masterminds that we're going to bring to the space to break bread with,
Mm.
right? And
Yeah.
so that is the third project that I'm working on, which I'm super excited about. So those are my 3 babies right now that you already know. I'm like, I have to do this. And I gotta do this. And I gotta do this. But it's fun to be back in this season. It really, really is. It feels like art again.
I've decided as of late that Miss Simone is Oprah and Beyonce's love child with Maya Angelou, godparent. I haven't really figured that out yet.
Sprinkle a little dash.
Sprinkle, little Maya. And I say that because number one, the level of philanthropy, like the way that you consider everyone else and your community. And we've had this conversation many a times. Number one, you're a Black woman in America, right? And we could talk a lot of different things about that. But we already have the stigma of, oh my goodness, and aggressive, and oh my goodness, right? Angry, and oh my goodness, right? This, but your heart, people don't understand yet at large, right? Because there are people in communities that do, but at large, our society doesn't know to value assertiveness inside of a Black woman or woman, period. And your passion is unmatched. You know, like the way that you show up for other people, and people are taken aback by it. And I am in awe of the way that you are like, hold my hand, we're going, you know, like, because you don't have to, you know, like you don't have to. And people don't understand. I think people are just so used to trying to figure it out by themselves and drowning by themselves, that, you know, when you come by with the boat and the life vest and right, like you like, by any means necessary, we are winning. People are like, you know, like there are times it's almost like, and I'm saying that from the outside looking at you, you know, as my sister, I get the firsthand view of a lot of your experiences and the things that you go through, and you know, like just in your work ethic, period. And I wish I could describe that feeling that I have of like, oh my, you guys have no idea what she's like doing right now. Like I don't even know how to put it into words. I'm just, the things that you just said, the projects that you're working on are about you, but they're not. Like people don't know the resources that you have. People don't know the people that you know. People don't realize the attachments. Like you don't have to. You want to, and you do. And I'm grateful. I really am grateful. So my next question for you is, what drives you? Like you're a beast. You know what drives you?
Wow. First, I'll say this, and I really want to maybe share this with your audience, you know, um, for the culture tribe, vibe tribe, whatever, you know, we're going to be named, because I'm going to be fanatical about this platform. I really want to say, keep your circle tight and right. And I'm going to get back to what drives me.
Yeah.
But if you don't have a Miss Joseph in your life, you can't be fueled, right? It's so important for us to allow ourselves to shift certain relationships. I'm not saying cancel people. I was hella aggressive. You know, when I got into business, I was like, cancel. But shift certain relationships and sanitize your environment, your mental and your physical environment, and keep the right people around, because since I wouldn't be able to do it without you. And I'm just so grateful for everything that you do. But yeah, so what drives me? I know for a fact that I am operating in my gifting. So, you know, I was talking to you years ago, and I don't know if you remember this. I was like, I just don't understand how we are all human beings.
Yeah.
And you could love to cook, and I could absolutely hate it. Yeah. And you could love to paint, and I could be like, what do I do with this toothbrush? It's a paintbrush, Ari. Like, you know, like you could love, you know, you could love to bike. And I'm like, I'm not getting on this bike with you, Kat. Like, I'm not. But we all have these intrinsic values that, some of us are searching for purpose. And Miles Monroe says you don't go after purpose, you unearth it.
Mm.
You chisel it out of you. And I've always been an advocate. Like, I've always been an advocate. I was the girl that I wouldn't even say I was popular. Everybody knew me. So if if that's what popular is to you,
Mm-hmm.
okay. But I wasn't like the mean girls, at the table.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to be her. Everybody knew me. I've always been this, which is obnoxious for a 10-year-old. Let me tell you. Like, everybody's like, what is up with her? She's intense. But I've always been this. But I've always been the advocate. So I was the 7-year-old that had, and I remember my best friend, I was actually 6. I remember she had one leg was shorter than the other.
Okay.
She was like one of my closest friends at PS 34. Anybody that's from Queens will know PS 34. And I used to walk the hallways with her. I was like, let anybody say something to you, I got you. Like, I've always been the advocate. When I went to boarding school, we had a book, that said this is what you can do, this is what you get guidelines, this is what you can't do. And I was the attorney of the whole group. Like, that's why everybody thought I was going to be an attorney. Right. But I also had this space where I would advocate for people, but I would pour in. Like, I would, and I had to hone in on this gift and this skill set, because before I was like, no, stop saying you're not enough. Say this now. But like now I'm like, why do you feel like that? Why do you know? So I've always been this person. Yeah. And so operating in advocacy, but then also being an executor. Like, I've always executed on what I wanted to do. It's just really the perfect blend to change things, right? To be one of many, because we're one of many. It's going to take more than just one person. And it was more than just 1 or 2 or 3 people. We talk about the Garveys. We talk about, the Kings. We talk about the X's of the world. We talk about the Parks of the world. But it was more than these beacons of individuals, these beacons of light. And so I think that my drive comes from this burning desire, because it's a part of me. I've always been. And so I never shied away from it. I just leaned in. Whereas some people don't have drive because they don't lean in. Like, we worry about the judgment. We worry about how others will feel. We say, oh, but that doesn't make sense. I don't see how that can happen. It's not for your earthly vision. It's for the divine vision that we have,
Wow.
for us to be able to know, like, this is where I'm supposed to walk. Because if you would have told me 3 years ago that I would be building leaders on a daily basis, if you told me 3 years ago that I would be switching everything to vlogging on a daily basis from YouTube and showcasing my life in that intimate way, I've been approached for reality shows before. And I'm like, no.
Right.
But here I am with my camera, like, yeah, so today we go, like, if you would have told me that, I would have said, you tripping. No.
Right.
But when it comes with systematic liberation, when the value is just something that I can't turn away from, when I know the end goal is something that I have to show up for because I said yes, it's like you wake up and you do it anyway. You do it tired.
You wake up and you do it anyway. And y'all, she means that. She means that. The way that you show up, is beautiful, because again, it's not for the sake of you, like the sacrifices that you make, that people don't know about. And this is just, I get to be biased, right? Because I get to be behind the scenes. Thank you. Thank you for that. And thank you for always being bold in as your intense self. I'm grateful. I love you for it.
7 years old.
So here's my question. I've been calling this a humble brag, but let us know what do you feel like you contribute to the Black community?
You know, it's so crazy. It's like I feel like I knew this question was coming and I still didn't even mentally prepare for it. Hmm. Contribution, contribution, contribution. That's so good. This is an intense question to answer, Miss Joseph. Um, Capacity.
Mm.
Because how it like how God moves through me is up to God, right? It's a co-collaboration, yes, but it's up to him. But what I contribute is the capacity to get it done. So whether he tells me I'm going to be in a rural part of America just loving on children in the neighborhood, right? And that's how I show up. Or if he tells me I'm going to be platformed and I'm going to speak to billions about what it looks like for leadership to come back into our community again, like I'm going to be able to do it. So I think I know my contribution to the Black community is capacity. Like, however, I have to show up, um, that's what I'll do. And because I know um, our capability, like what our giftings are, like there's no area of life that our people cannot execute. Like we are just such a diverse people. But
Mm.
I'm excited to be able to say, hey, you know, I know how to do this. But because humility, you said a humble brag, which is so funny, because humility, like we can put a team together in order to get X, Y, Z done.
Yeah.
We can get the funding in order to do da 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 da. And I've been stepping into that power. I want to say I've always known, but when I said yes, and you know the moment that I said yes, it just shifted completely. To know that there is a world changer in all of us, and I know that I have the capacity to be able to chisel it out.
That was beautiful. It really was. And you have such a you mentioned earlier, you said co-collaboration.
Yeah. So
And um that's exactly what you do. And the way that you have manifested in your life, the faith walk that I get to see, right? Because there's always going to be quiet moments and private moments, but you've shared
mhm.
some of the intimacy in your faith walk, and I'm grateful for your honesty, because I feel like you give people an inside look into what co-collaboration can look like, to bring your plans, to you know come before divinity and really sit at the feet. And your obedience is also amazing. uh, and I say that also because of ways where our lives are parallel. It's very easy to look at you and or societal norms and compare you and be like, how do you mix your faith and business and finances and creativity, and you've woven things together so beautifully to simply be what you're designed to be. So yeah, capacity, absolutely. And I feel like God could just continues to increase your capacity over time, because you never cease to amaze me. I, you just go and you do, and
That stretch, baby. You be like,
that stretch. So I have an open question for you. What do you feel the Black community needs?
oh, straight up. You know, it's so funny. Like, I'm like, that went easy. Belief and understanding law. So, you know, first off, like, you know how I am. Like, faith is everything, and not the cliche of faith.
Right.
So that's another conversation for another day. But faith, what faith actually is, it's an active word. Faith is a verb. So when I say belief, and we go back, you know, to root words X, Y, Z, capturing the word faith and showing up in that every day, we need it. Now, what we also need is to understand the laws of the way the world works. You know, so I say God, some say universe, others say source, others say Allah, yeah, Abba. It so however we identify, that's neither here nor there. What I'm saying is there are laws of the land, and we are not functioning in the law. So when we cast spells with our words, it carries boomerangs.
Come on.
I say, you are hung by the tongue. Like, that is a book that it's as a man thinketh. You know, so what we don't realize is this echo chamber of grief and deceit and disbelief and, oh, the white man and how we ever gonna win. Like, these things that, and I almost get so afraid to even say it sometimes, right?
Yeah.
But these things that we say, that we perpetuate, that we put ourselves in this perpetual cycle of, like, this cyclone.
Yeah.
That we can't get ourselves out of because we haven't decided to stop, take a deep breath, unlearn, have that active faith, the actual faith, and then carry out and operate in the law. So we're not operating in the law of money properly. We're not operating in the law of words properly. We're not operating in the law of business properly. We're not operating in the law of being a sower properly. We're not operating in the space of having talents properly. We're not operating in a space of manifestation properly. These are laws that we're not, it's like gravity. It exists.
Yeah.
It's like it's here.
Wow.
So we have so much we have work to do. And that is good. We look at work like it's a dirty word. No, we have accountability to place into our communities. And that is good. Because we get to create from a space that we get to create from a space and a position of magnitude that people will only say, but God. Like, what a testimony it will be on the other side. And so right now, because we're in the through journey, we're not recognizing the blessings.
Yeah. Wow.
And you know, we were talking about this. We were like, the enemy, whoever the enemy is, sometimes it's us.
That's a fact.
Enemy tries to steal your energy. And so we're operating in this tired space. But if we go back to faith, if we learn the laws, we go back to faith and learn the laws.
Wow.
So we shift.
Then we shift. I don't know why I didn't make everybody's interviews like 4 parts. Because, you know, I want to ask you 37 other questions. Um,
You did good. I'm looking at this time. I'm like,
all right.
okay.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Somebody says that they want to be like you. What do you say?
Better.
Mm.
You know, I'm not gonna cry. I probably am gonna cry. People don't know this. Everybody doesn't know this about my journey, but my mother and I had the opportunity to co-parent, and Kat knows this, for beautiful babies that happen to be white. And when we got them, it was just it was it was divine intervention. Let's just put it like that, because I just knew I was gonna have me some black babies to foster.
Right.
Like, because in my mind, I thought that's how I was supposed to show up in the world.
Mm.
So I say this because you said when somebody says, I want to be like you. And those children were for me.
Yeah.
Um, those children they healed a traumatized Black woman
Mm.
that
Wow.
functioned in a very white America. They healed my soul, Kat.
Wow.
And I didn't know. I didn't know it was possible. But through the eyes of children. And so Everly is my 4-year-old at this time, going on 5. And Evans was my wild child. Okay, she's my leader. Want how she want, what she want, and she is determined, she is stubborn. And that is the bite that you don't take away from the child. Okay, like you are like, this is what's gonna get you through in the world. Like if we had to say who would make it out of everybody, Everly is gonna make it. And she gives the most beautiful compliments. And she was the most malnourished. So these children were malnourished. They stayed hot. They were ghost children. Medical records close to none. Just to give a little background. So they were
Yeah.
intense case. One of the most intense cases that our caseworker has seen in probably like 10, 15 years. They said it, not us. And they knew that in this household they would be healed. So Everly, beautiful baby. Oh my goodness. Beautiful, beautiful compliments, like from the heart. She looks at me and we're in the restroom and she goes, "Oh, Miss Ariel, I love your lips." And she would touch my lip. And she go, "Oh, I love her dirty little fingers." She was, children dirty. They just everywhere. "Oh, I love your lips." And she like would out like she goes, "Oh, I want lipstick like yours." She goes, "Oh, you're just so beautiful." And she looks at me in all purity. And she says, "I want to be black and beautiful just like you."
Mm. Wow.
And that's the moment that I knew. I said, God, this is so possible. Like, it is so possible that through us, through the washing, in Sufism, we call it washing, right? Like when you wash your soul, when you wash your spirit through the washing, that will happen, being closer to our purest versions of ourselves, where our children, they'll know what happened, but they won't understand.
Mm.
And that was the moment that I said, she wants to be like So, um, yeah. But for anybody else, I say just be better.
The moment that you know it's possible.
You hear it in theory,
Yeah.
but for your soul to like, for your soul and your heart to get it, it's like, it's a moment of release.
That I really do hope and pray that this gets to who it needs to, you know, because I know that people will see us operate. And yeah, we real pro black, real,
Real pro black.
right, for everything black on black on black. Very, very much pro black. But what matters at the end of the day is humanity, you know, and that's what I heard in you sharing. So thank you for that story, that experience. Um, do you have? Oh, better yet, you know what do you want to be remembered by?
Systematic liberation. Like,
Boom.
he set up the systems. Shorty was bad. I want the chapter to be like, Shorty was bad.
That's good.
She all about a system.
Shorty was bad.
Shorty was bad.
Dope.
Yeah.
Do you have any shout outs at all? Anybody, anywhere, anything?
Mama, I love you. No, I'm teasing. Yeah, I mean, to my circle, right? And that includes you, you know, my mother, mommy, poppy, like our family, like aunts, our best friend Robert, you know, even when he's Robert. Howard, Howard University, like, yeah, it's everything the songs in the movie say it is. That's the part that I think
Word.
is, there's no uh there's no like no, it's that and some nuances. You just gotta go, you know, my mentors, my coaches. It takes a lot. It takes a lot of energy to coach a me, you know, to like pour into me. I know it does, and not in a bad way. It just is what it is. Um, especially, you know, yeah, just it is what it is. So, you know, my support system, I'm just really, really grateful. So those, I guess those are my shout outs. I really want to shout you out though for this platform. This is just so dope. It's so dope. And I always knew you like was gonna do another thing that's dope, but it's just so dope to see it come to life and to see you executing, you know? Um, but yeah, especially my sisters in spirit, um, people that understand the way that I operate in spirit and know that that may not make sense, but I'm gonna do it, and y'all are gonna go, okay, Ariel, go jumping off the ledge, you can.
That's so good. That's so good.
Don't let me miss nobody, cat.
What?
Oh,
Don't put the pressure on me. Look, I don't want the pressure.
it was her fault.
You know, right? And
You know what I'm
I'm gonna yeah, go ahead.
so I also want to say thank you to those that tell me that I inspired them.
Mm,
You know, like the Mr. Hancocks of the world. You know, Mr.
yeah,
Uh, you know, the Miss Johnsons. Like I'm just really grateful for that space, the Miss Mitchell. So it keeps me going.
that's good. That's good. I am going to read you a quote
Okay.
and just share if it means anything to you, if it resonates at all.
Mm-hmm.
And the quote is: coming together is a beginning, keeping together is progress, working together is success.
You know what I hear in that, and it's just on my heart. It's like when a community, when we were able to reach out to each other as a community, and our question is, "Oh my goodness, sis, what do you have for me to learn?"
Mm.
Like being able to come to that space, grow through anything together. You know, like we like we'll all go through ups and downs. I feel like we quit too soon, so that's the keeping together. Like failure is necessary. And so many times, even with our small business owners, you know, just in application, you know, sometimes we just don't have enough grace to keep together right now, but we're working on it and demystifying what it looks like to give feedback and also to take feedback and keep each other, hold each other accountable,
Yeah.
help each other, lift each other, right? So keeping together, even through the down moments, which it's okay. It's okay. Like it's all right. We don't gotta be perfect. And then working together to find those spaces. I always say network and collaboration is necessary. Necessary. You have some communities that they generationally they network, so you know it's a part of the makeup now. Their children just know how to do it. So working together, how can we collaborate and use your gifts with mine and blend it, because we don't have to be everything. That's why when I say use tools and resources, sometimes we're used to being the tool and the only resource, and we don't have to be that anymore. So how can we collaborate? How can we work together in order to share space at the table, but really mastermind
Mm.
and move the needle way further. So
Someone needs to hear you say that. And so thank you for saying we don't have to be everything. Um, that's a game changer, and I know that was a big deal when I learned it. So somebody needs to hear it from you. So thank you. Heck, maybe I just need to hear it again. Um,
yeah, me.
so rapid fire, rapid fire, not closing, rapid fire, whatever comes.
Okay.
Favorite book?
Why am I blinking on
We'll come back. Look.
rapid fire?
Uh,
The one that you have yet to write.
wow, really?
Come on.
Really though?
Yep.
All right. Favorite food?
Oh my goodness. I love me some steak and mashed potatoes. But I'm off red meat. I think that's why I'm loving it even now. Go ahead.
Craving it. That's real. Um, Favorite quote?
Oh, Man in the Arena has got to be like my favorite quote. Oh my goodness.
Goodie. Role model that you have?
Um, I think I pull from so many people, but I would definitely say all the way from like a Michelle Obama to a Winston Churchill. I
Okay.
really pull from, but yeah, yeah,
Okay. One word to describe how you're feeling now.
elated. I feel so happy.
Something
Blessed.
that you're something that you're proud of.
My friendships, my relationships. I worked hard on
You
them.
got some good friends. I'm just saying though.
Yeah, for real, like the best.
um, and where can people find you?
Oh, it's right there at I am Ariel. No, so all of my handles on Instagram, TikTok, there I am Ariel Samone, and then Facebook is Ariel Samone. And so yeah, you guys can find me there. I'm on all social media platforms essentially, and I don't even want to say all because they're popping up like who knows.
Wildfire.
But yeah, but that's where you can find me, family.
Awesome. And any last words for folks that are watching?
Uh, be intentional
Mm.
and be unapologetic about it. We don't have time to ask for permission from any external sources, you have to go right here. See,
Yeah.
and be intentional, be unapologetic. It is so important for you to live in your gifting, because without it, we may not have a solution for another generation or two.
Wow.
That is blasphemy.
Wow.
So, uh, the more that we get to show up as our truest, authentic selves and working on it and being intentional about it, the quicker we can get to our solutions. So,
Be intentional. Um, I love you.
yeah.
I really do. I'm grateful for you. Thank you for being my friend, for being my sister,
Yeah.
for being our guest. Thank you for the work that you do. I mean, you already know, I already owe you like 3 jets, 2 houses, right, the whole nine. I'm just really honored and grateful that I have you in my life, and thank you for sharing who you are with the masses at large. I appreciate you, sis.
Appreciate you. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for saying yes to your call, sis.
Getabomb.com. And for everyone watching, thank you guys for joining us for another episode of For the Culture. Until next time, this you go on